Imagine a world where the house doesn't always win. Enter Richard Marcus, the master of casino deception. With a flair for the dramatic and nerves of steel, Marcus turned the tables on casinos for over 2 decades. Starting as a baccarat dealer, Marcus learned the ins and outs of casino games. But it was the art of the past posting, or the Savannah technique, that made him a legend. This method involved discreetly adding chips to a winning bet after the outcome was known. Marcus and his team refined these tricks, pulling off some of the most audacious casino scams in history. They operated in Las Vegas, using sleight of hand and psychological tactics to outsmart the eye in the sky. Despite accumulating millions, Marcus's luck eventually ran out. Caught and prosecuted, he turned his life around, becoming an author and a consultant, teaching casinos how to protect themselves from people like him. In the high-stakes game of Casino Wars, Richard Marcus showed that sometimes it's the player, not the cards, that controls the outcome. What makes someone the best cheater in casino history? Meet Marcus, a man whose early days were marked not by infamy, but by a desperate struggle to make ends meet. Gambling was not just a pastime for him, it was his lifeline, his way to scrape together a living. Yet, the harsh reality of relying solely on the whims of chance soon caught up with him. As his losses mounted, his life spiraled downwards, leading him to a point where the glittering lights of casinos were replaced by the cold, dark space under a bridge. Here, amidst the echoes of traffic above, Marcus hit rock bottom. But as often is the case, adversity breeds resilience. Marcus clawed his way back from the brink, securing a job that placed him on the other side of the gambling table. He became a dealer, a role that provided him not just with a paycheck but a vantage point. As he dealt cards for blackjack and baccarat, he observed, he watched the ebb and flow of casino life, the gamblers, the winners, and more intriguingly, the methods of those who tried to outsmart the system. It was here in the bustling heart of casino operations that Marcus's perspective began to shift. Surrounded by the very tools of gaming, he started to see opportunities, glimpses of possibilities that others overlooked, and as he stood there, dealing cards, a dangerous idea began to take root. In the world of casino cheating, one move stood out as both brilliant and audacious. This was the creation of Richard Marcus, a former gambler turned dealer who devised an ingenious method of deception known as the Savannah. At its core, the Savannah was deceptively simple yet fiendishly difficult to execute perfectly. Marcus would begin by placing a bet at the roulette table, seemingly innocuous, composed of 3 $5 chips. To any onlooker, and crucially to the dealer, it was just a modest $15 stake, hardly worth a second glance. But beneath this modest stack lay the heart of the ruse, a $500 chip, strategically obscured by its lesser-valued counterparts. If Marcus won, the routine was almost theatrical. He would erupt in an exaggerated display of jubilation, drawing the dealer's attention to the supposed small win with such fervor that they couldn't help but be puzzled. Why such excitement over $15? That's when Marcus would point out the $500 chip hidden underneath, to the astonishment of the dealer, who, upon lifting the top chips, confirmed its presence. The beauty of the Savannah lay not just in its mechanics but in the psychological play. Marcus expertly read the room, his timing impeccable. His outburst not only distracted but also manipulated the dealer's perception, ensuring the larger chip went unnoticed until the moment of revelation. Conversely, if the bet lost, Marcus's sleight of hand came into play. With the dealer's attention turned, he would swiftly and discreetly withdraw the $500 chip from the stack. Thus, his risk was minimized to just $15, a small price for a potential large gain. This move required not just skill but an acute understanding of human psychology in the casino environment. Marcus had to be observant, patient, and daring all at once. With every successful execution, Marcus's confidence soared, as did his notoriety. But what happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? As the stakes escalated, so did the audacity of Marcus and his team. They transitioned from modest $5,000 bets to daring placements of $5,000 chips hidden beneath mere $100 chips. This bold strategy wasn't just a step up. It was a giant leap into the high-stakes arena, where the risks were as substantial as the potential rewards. Casinos, renowned for their eagle-eyed security and sophisticated surveillance systems, remained surprisingly in the dark. Marcus's maneuvers were a blind spot. His method exploited a simple human error, the failure to suspect the seemingly innocent. Security teams were trained to scrutinize wins, looking for added chips after a bet had won, but Marcus's strategy flipped the script. His losses were the deceit, and his wins? They were as clean as a whistle. However, every cheater's tale includes that heart-stopping moment of near capture. For Marcus, it came one busy night when a new dealer, sharper and more meticulous, noticed something off about the stack of chips. The dealer hesitated, his suspicion nearly peeling back the layers of Marcus's deceit. Although Marcus smooth-talked his way out of the situation, the encounter was a stark warning. The waters were no longer safe. Marcus was flying too close to the sun, and the heat was beginning to be felt. All empires fall, and the empire of deception was no different. For years, Richard Marcus played the game of cat and mouse with the keen eyes of casino security and the watchful gaze of law enforcement. But as with all great schemes, a chink in the armor eventually shows. Marcus's downfall began one fateful night when an observant dealer noticed something amiss. This dealer, trained to spot irregularities, did not react as usual to Marcus's theatrics. Instead, he called in the security. The subsequent review of surveillance tapes revealed the truth of Marcus's ingenious but illicit strategies. The footage showed clear instances of his Savannah move, Marcus placing a high-value chip beneath smaller ones, only revealing it when the outcome was in his favor. On other occasions, he'd slyly remove the high-value chip when the bet didn't play out. The evidence was undeniable, and soon, law enforcement was involved. Marcus was arrested amidst the very glitz and glamour that had once been his hunting ground. The trial that followed was a spectacle, drawing attention from casino operators and gamblers worldwide. Charged with multiple counts of fraud and theft, Marcus faced the consequences of his actions. The court proceedings were exhaustive, as expert witnesses from casino security testified about the sophistication and impact of his cheating methods. Throughout the trial, it was revealed that Marcus and his accomplices had swindled an estimated $5 million from casinos around the globe. This staggering sum underscored not just the brilliance of his tactics but also the scale of his deceit. In the end, the gavel came down hard on Marcus. He was found guilty on numerous charges, his previous life of luxury traded for a sentence behind bars. Reflecting on his journey from a desperate gambler to a master of deception, Marcus's story serves as a stark reminder of the high stakes in the world of casino gambling. Caught and cornered, Marcus's days of dodging the law had reached an inevitable end. What remains when the chips are down? Marcus's audacious escapades reshaped casino security in profound ways. Following his capture, casinos worldwide took a hard, introspective look at their surveillance and dealer training programs. The seemingly simple yet cunning maneuvers of Marcus prompted a technological and procedural overhaul. High-resolution cameras became more prevalent, dealer training intensified, focusing not just on the rules of the game, but on spotting deceitful behaviors and sleights of hand. Casinos now invest heavily in security, turning what was once a straightforward cat-and-mouse game into an elaborate dance of wits and technology. After his arrest, Marcus didn't fade into obscurity. Instead, he channeled his notorious reputation into a new career, selling gambling books and sharing his insights on casino games. On his website, he tantalizes visitors with claims of continuing his cheating ways, albeit in a manner he boasts is undetectable to law enforcement. This self-styled rogue's transition from casino scourge to author and supposed cheat at large blurs the lines between reformation and bravado. Marcus's story serves as a stark reminder of the perpetual arms race between security measures and those intent on undermining them. It highlights a broader cultural fascination with the idea of beating the system, a narrative deeply embedded in the gambling world. Casinos are more vigilant and the stakes have escalated, not just in terms of money but in the ongoing battle between cunning and control. Marcus may have left the casino floors, but his shadow lingers in every corner where the stakes are high. From a desperate gambler to a notorious cheater, Marcus's journey is a tale of cunning and consequence. Today we've delved deep into the meteoric rise and precipitous fall of one of the most infamous figures in casino gambling history. From his humble beginnings, struggling to make ends meet through gambling, to the development of a deceptive technique so slick it went undetected for years, Marcus's story is nothing short of a roller coaster. His infamous move, the Savannah, became his signature. It was a simple yet brilliantly executed strategy that manipulated the norms of casino games to his advantage. This maneuver not only earned him millions but also eventually led to his downfall. When the curtain was finally pulled back, the casinos, once his lavish playgrounds, became the grounds for his prosecution. Reflecting on Marcus's tale, it's essential to consider the psychological drive behind his actions. What pushes someone to cross the line from playing the game to manipulating it? And at what cost does this manipulation come? Not just legally, but personally and morally. Marcus's story also serves as a stark reminder of the risks inherent in the world of gambling, where the allure of easy money can often lead to dire consequences. It poses a critical question about the nature of gambling and deception. Is the game ever worth the gamble, when the deck is stacked against you? This question lingers, prompting us to ponder the true cost of a gamble, where the stakes are not just monetary, but profoundly personal.